Hey, this is Karila with Metal Life Magazine. I'm here at the Roxy with our headliner, Skeletonwitch. I'm here with Scott and Evan. How are you guys doing?
Excellent. Good to be here.
Good.
Yep, awesome to be here.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah.
You're good on that? Okay.
It's been a long day, but finally, we're here.
know. Yeah. That must not have been cool at all to sit in that traffic.
Yeah, our drive turned into about a 12-hour drive from Phoenix. It's not, for those geography buffs out there, it's not supposed to take 12 hours to drive from Phoenix to the Rocky.
It was not cool.
12
It was
hours?
not cool, and it was not cool.
When did you guys leave?
6:30 LA time this morning.
6:30 in the morning,
Yeah.
and you got here at
6:30.
6. Oh my god!
Or a little bit before that, so it was close to 12.
Okay. Which is worse then? Was it worse being in the desert, having virtual like highway hypnosis, or was it worse being stuck in 12-hour traffic?
Oh man, flip a coin on that one.
All right. What would you say?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just either.
Whenever you're in the van, it's kind of shot.
It was sort of a oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. I don't have anything to say really about it. I don't know. We're so used to it. We've like done it for so long and sat in the van, and like we just got back from Europe and we had to drive like 16 hours one day to get to fucking Romania. Like it sucks, but it's just part of the job.
Right.
I'm never like, oh, I wish I wasn't here. You know. Well, I am like that, but like whatever, you're here. You want to pay the cost to be the boss, you know. And pay the cost of sitting in a van with 5 guys.
Right.
In the desert.
But that doesn't rhyme. I like cost to be a boss.
Yeah.
So what's your guys' cure for long trips for highway hypnosis? What kind of things do you guys do to cure that?
I mean, there's the obvious stuff with, listening to music, reading, sitting there bitching about it to each other. I don't know. There's not really a cure. You just we used to do all kinds of dumb shit, like make jokes that wouldn't make sense to anyone else besides us.
You ever heard of drinking?
Yeah.
What?
You ever heard of alcoholism? Alcoholism's a big one.
Scott, you recently met on this tour, actually. You were talking about how you believe that Skeletonwitch as a band is a reinvigorator of metal, like a kind of like something that revives metal, rather than claiming that you invented something in metal.
Oh, yeah.
See, not that bad, right?
I didn't know you put that little twist on the end. I was like, okay. I mean, I call bullshit on most bands who come out with a new album and they say, you've never heard anything like this. Like, you're reinventing the wheel. I'm like, fuck you. The wheel's been rolling for a long time and it's still a wheel. Like, you didn't reinvent it. Same thing with pop music. The form isn't being reinvented very regularly, or if at all anymore. But people are writing great songs here and there that people want to listen to. So I'd much rather focus on writing music, heavy music, as it were, that within the realm of heavy music, writing great songs that people care to listen to, and that maybe are put together in a novel way, rather than trying to like blow someone's mind with like a guitar tone they've never heard in their life. That's just bullshit. There's so much hyperbole in press releases and stuff. So I'd rather just be honest and say we're trying to write good heavy songs rather than trying to you paid for the whole seat but you only need the edge kind of hype.
Right. Okay.
So that's kind of what I meant by that. I guess.
Gotcha. What do you think, Evan?
Yeah, that's a good Scott. I think Scott really nailed it on the head. There are a lot of bands that do say they're reinventing the genre, which obviously isn't true. So I never heard him say something that good before.
Never heard anything that deep in your life.
I should stop talking for the rest of the interview because
no, but it's true. Most of the bands that
because that was it. Thanks.
new bands I like when they come out and stuff. They're not reinventing everything. Like, they're just putting a cool twist on it, and that's what everyone's doing, no matter what they're saying.
Right. Dude, there's also, and I feel like the more you go on, you kind of see, and I mean, it's obviously died down now, but I'm thinking, I was telling a friend about the new wave of thrash, you know what I mean? And in some sense, there's a lot of black metal bands coming out that people are starting to say there's like a new revival of black metal, but it's like, how long can you go on trying to revive old trends when you've got to invent somehow?
Yeah, that's really like labely, like new wave of heavy metal or new wave of thrash or new wave of black metal. It's like sometimes there's like a group of bands that come out or whatever, but I mean, look at all those bands that came out when thrash came back. Like, look at what they're doing now. I mean, it kind of speaks for itself when you start putting labels on things.
Right.
Not you, but metal fans start putting labels on.
Stop judging me.
I forget who it was, but have you ever seen the movie Hype?
I have not.
About the grunge scene in Seattle. There's someone in that movie I cannot remember who it is. It's been years since I've seen it. It describes sort of the record industry as like this giant baby Huey running to each city or to each fad. Like, it sounds like Pearl Jam, and they run and crush everything in their way and fuck it all up, and basically in the past try to find the next big, grunge band.
Okay.
They're just, labeling everything and just polluting the music scene. It just sucks. And there's sort of on a much, much, much smaller level that sort of like journalists and labels and everybody trying to like put everybody into this trend, like, oh, there's a few bands that sound like this. That's because it's the new wave of this, and let's try to sign these bands, and let's try to, give press to these bands, and in this way, in this light, and I think it's kind of goofy.
Yeah.
And even if what he's saying, if that first band is really good, it really waters it down. Because you have this band that comes out with something interesting, like Scott said, and then you have 10 bands that try and do it. So it really waters it down, and makes it not interesting when you got 20 bands trying to be wizards or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
You got like 50 guys in white high tops just pissing in the gene pool.
Right.
Yeah, and maybe that was cool in the 80s, but I mean, now it's totally different. Absolutely.
I don't hate the shoes themselves per se.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so Scott, I want to talk a little bit. I'm sure you've talked about this so much, but your recent actions toward charity, and particularly like all the amazingly freaking adorable animals you seem to run into, you seem to attract. You're like the Snow White of the heavy metal world. Like, it's amazing. So on that, I wanted to get your opinion on celebrity animals, because you're so about like taking up and picking up that those that are kind of lost and don't have a home. But there's obviously the trend of like celebrity cats and dogs and stuff like that. I wanted to get your opinion on that.
Well, I want to know if they need an agent. I don't know. I mean, it's. I mean, if people love Grumpy Cat, they love Grumpy Cat. The only thing I would worry about is how well those animals are treated, and if they get carted around and put in front of people all day long and like made to sort of just be like handled by hundreds of people walking by, like, let's just prop Grumpy Cat up again, like he loves it, look, and they're like strangling him.
Just like it.
So I don't know. I don't really care. I'm not really into it. I don't really follow the social media feeds of all these celebrity animals. But I suppose if they're treated okay and they got a good life, then that's all that matters.
Okay. Still on your charity thing, I think it's really interesting. The not the trend, but that you guys are really promoting donating to charities. Even, I'm going to plug Prosthetic Records for a minute. They did a thing where if you donated to a charity, like, you got a certain pack of CDs. So do you see maybe other heavy metal bands or maybe other organizations and charity kind of getting together? Like, is that a thing you would like to see in the future?
I mean, anytime people get together to for a good cause, I'm all for it. But as a band, we draw the line really with the animal charities. We really don't like people nearly as much as we do animals.
That is true.
And we tend not to get involved in political causes. We want to keep our music separate. It's always been sort of a source of either release or something cathartic or something fun for us. Music, growing up, getting into it and stuff. So when we play and we write music, we don't necessarily want to get on the soapbox and do you really want your politics from 5 scumbags from Ohio?
No.
So we tend to keep it more towards the animals and less away from political causes.
Right.
So you'll probably see us just stay in that realm with all of our animals.
Yeah, I just thought it was very interesting and something that could possibly correlation, maybe something that would improve a perception of heavy metal. Like, hey, we give to charities, whether it's like sick animals, things like that, something that might get a little more, because, I mean, it did go mainstream to a certain extent that you guys donated to a charity. And I think that's something that could really emphasize a great part of heavy metal in general.
And don't get me wrong, I'm certainly not opposed to anything that helps someone out or that's for a good cause and stuff. It's just that we don't want to get too involved, because then there's a lot of politics that come along with it, whether you want there to be or not, and you can get it's something that we tend to tread lightly on, or what we get involved with, I guess. But by all means, more metal bands want to get involved, help people out in some way, whether it's animals or it's a food bank for people in their community. That's great.
Right, absolutely. Well, I honestly think that was a great example on your guys' part. With this tour with Sabaton and Almond Amarth, it took me a while to realize that it was the exact same tour that happened not even a year ago. So is this kind of an encore that was like, it was a very on-demand kind of tour, or was it something that you just kind of decided to do again because it worked?
I mean, actually, Amon and Mark just their management just approached us and said, "Hey, we're going to come back and hit all the places we didn't hit when we came through with you guys and when we brought you guys an Enslaved around, and we'll do Canada this time, and we were, jumped at the chance.
Right.
So we've just become good friends, and we tour well together, and it's a good package, and I think it makes a lot of sense for our bands to tour together as far as the crowds, and we just love to hang out and drink Underbergs with Ted, their bass player.
Right, there you go.
They couldn't keep us away from Ted for too long.
How has the chemistry been with the other bands here on this tour with Ghoul and Black Anvil?
It's been great. They're really nice guys. I mean, they sort of inhabit, the underground of metal, sort of like we do too.
Right.
So it's, we come from, even though we don't sound alike musically, I think we have similar attitudes towards touring, and
right.
and they're older, they're seasoned, they're not, they know how to tour, they know what they're doing. So there's a level of just organization and sort of know-how that comes
right.
with those guys. So we can automatically just start being friends and hang out, and don't have to sort of, do like the proverbial slap on the wrist, guys,
yeah.
You're fucking up, learn how to tour.
Right, there you go.
So right away it was just, having a good time and hanging out.
But Paul from Black Anvil was saying, I feel like we're kind of sort of the black sheep of the bill, but really I see so much musically and professionally about you guys that really clicks.
Yeah, I think he said the other day coming into it, he thought they were going to be the odd men out, but then he was totally wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree. He was wrong. We get along great, and musically it works just fine.
Yeah, I agree. This is a killer lineup. So my last question for both of you is: if you were to take a song from Serpents Unleashed and you wanted to put it in any TV show or movie that you wanted to, what would it be?
Wow, I gotta think about that for a second. Do you know offhand, Evan?
Oh, jeez, this could go so many ways. You could go hilarious with it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could do what Toxic Holocaust did and have a song on Sons of Anarchy and be in a badass shootout scene. So
that's obvious. I'm more into maybe putting a real black metal song of ours in Little Britain or something.
Okay.
Or Full House.
Or Full House. Yeah. Can you choose old shows?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So maybe Serpents Unleashed in Golden Girls. That's my answer.
That's why I see a new Family Matters, so you can just didn't I do that? And also it's Beneath Dead Leaves.
Yeah. You can do an Urkel soundbite. I love
an Urkel soundbite, and then Beneath Dead Leaves. Yeah.
Awesome.
Or Cream Daddy video, which is a reimagining of horror. It's an Instagram sensation. You should check it out.
Okay. All right. And actually, I totally forgot. I have one more question for you. So you guys are going to be on tour during Halloween. Have you guys ever dressed up during a tour, or do you plan to?
We have not, and we don't.
Well,
we're still fits in the mud, aren't we?
I know.
Yeah.
That was awful.
Okay. To make it a slightly better answer, when we're home in the past, Nate and I have done some cover sets. We did a Turbo Negro set and dressed up as them. And,
wow.
And, Guns N' Roses, where I was Slash and Nate was Axl.
Oh, that's great. What?
So,
how did you pull that off? Okay, there you go.
It's questionable whether we did, but whether we pulled it off. But
yeah,
we were walking down the street and somebody looked at us and they said, "Oh my God, there's Slash and Biker Man."
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But no, when we're on tour, we don't usually. We barely have time.
Thank you so much, Scott and Evan. I really appreciate you taking the time out. Look forward to seeing you, and I look forward to pitting. God damn it, it's been so long.
Thanks for your time. We appreciate it.